Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I just told the man, I don't know how I'm gonna follow up with that speech. I refuse to speak extemporaneously because I am one that did not memorize my lines. I just want to say thank you, Syriac, 500 men making a difference, Mayor, Eric Adams, Pastor Bernard, everyone here, and especially Syriac also because I'm a witness to exactly what this organization does. This organization, 500 Men Making a Difference in Syriac in particular, reached out to us and said, listen, we have a young man, his name is Kayvon Kirkland, and Kayvon is looking for a place to work on his creativity. He did that. He reached out, and Kayvon came down to the organization, and Kayvon was affected tremendously to the point where he, in turn, brought down 15 of his friends in order to receive that same level of love and mentorship that he got from moving mountains. Most people have no idea what it's like to have somebody that believes in us. I know what it's like to have someone that believes in me. And belief is an action that can be the tide that changes the direction in one person's life.
That's right. That's right.
So one thing I hope to do as I get into my senior ages is not judge the young men that I see, the young men that are doing things that may seem outside the box, as if I didn't make bad choices myself. Because when I look at them and I see them going down the left, exiting stage left, or going down the wrong direction, my goal is to actually, as well as the team, pick them up and let them know with some wisdom that there's another way. And like Mayor Adams said, also mentor in terms of reading and higher education, because it's important for them to know that they can actually take it to that higher level. Now, this is a small fact that disturbed me. And the fact was that 62% of black men, young black boys, are being raised in homes without fathers. Now, that bothered me because it hurts even when you don't know it hurts. Right? You're a young boy, you have no idea how this is going to affect your life, and I was that young boy. My name is Jamie Hector. I'm a successful actor, philanthropist, author, right? This is what I am right now, but I wouldn't be anywhere. I wouldn't be here today without mentors in my life. And the mentors in my life were profound, right? True story. My father was absent in my life. And I asked my mother one day, I said, look, where's my father? And for those that have young boys, they're going to ask the question when they don't see their father. I was 4 or 5, my brother was 5, I was 4. Crossing the street, I asked Mom, where's my dad? She said, he's dead. I said, oh, okay. A year later, I'm sitting on the stoop of my aunt's house, and a car pulls up. It's a convertible, top missing, and a guy gets out the car, 6'4", brown suit, butterfly collar, chains dangling, right? Jerry curls down to his shoulders. So my brother and I looked at this man and said, this has got to be God. He walks by us and says, how you doing? We said, hey. He goes upstairs. And somebody upstairs must have said, those 2 boys downstairs are your sons. He was an absentee father. He wasn't involved in my life, so my mother just told us what she thought best. But what he didn't know was that there were 2 guys across the street named Gerald and Junior. Gerard and Junior. And these guys, unconsciously, were pouring into our lives, right? What were they doing? They were just basically saying, come across the street, let's work out. Do some push-ups. Just run around the block. So we had us on the floor doing push-ups, and I'm doing push-ups. He said give us 15. I decided to push the 15. Everybody else's arms were trembling, and they trembled down to 10. He pulls me up, he says, you have willpower. I said, I don't know what willpower is. He said, you have willpower. He explained to me what willpower was. When he said that to me, that changed my life. It changed my life because now I was in constant pursuit of having willpower. Starting something and finishing it, but it was just that man that said it to me. So now, fast forward, I'm in high school, having young black boy problems. And I know a lot of you know what that is. If your block has beef, even if you're not involved, you might have beef. If you try to get your clothes, you try to stay fresh, squirt a little bit of cologne on you, and look good, you try to go outside and not get robbed. You know, these are the things that you're experiencing as a young man coming up that so many people don't understand. Me personally, I was going to school in East New York. Hey. I lived in East Flatbush. Hey. So it was a war for me to get to school. Then while I was sitting in school, I'm thinking about how am I going to get home? Because it was like that. You want to get an education, but at the same time you want to make it back home. So because that situation took place, I walk into my house with that young black boy funk, that antisocial attitude. And my mother, she's cooking fish. And she looks at me and she says, you need a man to talk to in your life. So then my search begins. Fast forward, I go to college. The college instructor, his name was Mr. Clark, and he had an impact on my life because the course that I was taking was Contemporary Black Men. That course shifted me. So I ran to him and I said, I need a mentor. He said, no, I can't do it. I said, all right. Statistics is the next class, Mr. Reese. Always wore black turtleneck, black pants, black shoes, militant, small afro. And I said, I need you as my mentor. And he said, I'm too busy. I said, all right, it's cool. I understand. So, but I continue to pursue. So now I'm working as a stand-in on a film called The Best Man. Anybody familiar with that film? Yes, sir. I'm driving a black Maxima with a skirt on it. It's low to the ground with star wings. A do-rag on. I reach out a light, and a guy approaches me and he says, excuse me. He had a suit on, and he says, can you give me a ride? Now, mind you, do not pick up hitchhikers, right? But I picked him up. I said, you need a ride? He said, yeah, I just got this job, and I need to get to work. And they just called me last minute. If I don't make it, I'll lose it. So can you give me a ride across the bridge? I said, all right. So he gets in the car. I felt like I looked more intimidated than him. And if something hit the fan, he would have took a loss. So he gets in the car, and he's sitting next to me, and the first thing he looks at me, he says, thank you, brother, thank you so much, brother, thank you. What church do you go to? I was like, what? So now he begins to talk to me about church. Now mind you, I'm still seeking a mentor. He starts talking to me about church, and he starts telling me about this great church that I should visit. It's amazing. I was raised Catholic, you know. And he was like, you know, it was interesting, but it wasn't really tugging at my heart, so I stopped going to church. So he convinced me to visit a church. I went on my birthday, and it was CLC. 1998, 1999, I sat in the back. And while I sat in the back, I saw this young pastor come out, and he just started talking. And he just started talking about his life, Jesus, making it clear, making it something that I was like, wait a minute, I'm curious about this Jesus that you talk about in the Bible. But even more curious, I was more curious about his life and the way that he was walking, living by principles, family man. Everything that he did on stage and off stage, I was like, okay, I'm gonna mirror that. So this was me every week at church trying to figure out who is this person in the scripture and who is that person on stage. Because of that, my life transformed. I'm a husband to my beautiful wife, Jennifer. And true story, no, we're not gonna get into that. No, I was gonna talk about myself before I was a husband. But y'all don't need to know about this, right? Read the book. So I'm a father. Why am I a father? Here's the reason why. I walked into this church and I saw an image of man, woman, and child. And it was in front of me, and left, right, behind me, and I said, wow, this right here, I gotta do this. I'm a father and I'm a successful artist. Some might say, right? But this right here was the thing that transformed my life completely because it pushed me to wanting to start an organization to give back to the community in a great way, the same way that it was given back to me. You see, I didn't know Pastor up front. Like, I didn't go up to him and shake his hand and talk to him like we do now, but he mentored me from a distance. So people are watching what you say, people are watching what you do, People are watching how you respond, and you can be the only God that they meet. But I know for a fact that I was watching someone that was completely affecting my life and then affected my wife's life. So we moved to Open Moving Mountains and start this organization because I want to pour in the lives of young artists and the community just like everything was poured into me. People poured into me little by little, and they did not know they were doing it, and they did it. So now we have an organization that has over 28 SAG actors. You can turn on every network right now and find them in leading roles on the shows, and it's happening. And even the ones that you don't see on screen and or television, you know that they affect lives because they're now the mentors of the young that's coming up through the ranks. You see, because once we train them, once I was trained, once I understood that everybody can't speak into my life because some people are not imparting wisdom, they can be trying to tell you some things that work for you, but they can be telling you the wrong things. So you need that right person, and we all here are the right people. We all here, hopefully, will inspire, motivate, and move people in the right direction. I was doing an interview tonight, and they said, what's the purpose of this? And I said, hopefully, to be inspired and to inspire and to hit the streets and do the work. I want to thank everybody for this honoring Black men. Y'all deep! You guys are in the building. I just want to thank you for bottom of my heart for this honoring. I appreciate it. I love you, my man.